You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZWLP Conroe and 106.1 KZCCLP Conroe, and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Thanks for checking out this recording on Lone Star Community Radio. This is Dick, the General Manager of Lone Star Community Radio, and I wanted to give you a quick reminder of what's going on with us for the month of September. A new show has been added to our lineup. The Good News with Ted Cox is going to be on Tuesdays from 1 to 3 p.m. during our Talk Block. And also joining the Talk Block is going to be Mornings with Lone Star. Every weekday from 10 to 11 a.m., Mornings with Lone Star will extend their normal programming from music into talk. That's right. Starting from now on, from 8 to 11 a.m., Mornings with Lone Star. First 2 hours, music, talk, fun. And then from 10 to 11, more nitty-gritty talk radio for you. Also extending their time slot is going to be our favorite Saturday morning show, Grit and Grace. They're going to be extending their hours from 8 to 10 a.m. every Saturday morning for you. Also, the last reminder is we still have plenty of talk slots available for those who want to be a talk show host and also volunteer DJs for music. If you're interested in those kind of things, please let the studio know at lscrstudios@gmail.com or call the station at the message line at 936-647-3776. Thanks again for checking out Lone Star Community Radio, and hope you enjoyed the show.
Welcome back to Mornings with Lone Star with Dick and Skippy. It's the Talk Block. Bravely being the first station in the Tri-County area to play ABBA in the morning. We also got Jake in the studio with us. Morning, man.
Good morning, everybody.
You've been missing a good show so far, unless you tuned into us on 104.5, 106.1 on your FM dial, or irlonestar.com, or the app. It's been a great morning so far. We've talked about many things. We talked about cops is coming to Montgomery County. We're going to try and get Sheriff Rand Henderson to see if this is a good thing or not.
Well, I heard about it, so I'm really excited. I kind of want to be on the show.
Well, Jake, you're young, so you could be one of those drunk dudes.
Yeah, they'll blur out your face, so no one will
What we
know
could
who you
do,
are.
this is the plan. We'll go to the corner pub, get you just good and toasty, and then go to a higher establishment across the street, which is the brick tavern, Red Brick Tavern, because they'll call the cops. They don't call the cops on you at the corner pub. It's a cool place, but Red Brick will call the cops on you immediately, and then we'll just kind of throw you around a little bit, just kind of like shake you up like a soda can, and then we'll open you, and then we'll call the cops, bicycle cops. That's even cooler. And do you think they pump each other on the back of the bike, the camera crew, like right on the back of the, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they may have those tandems, the Daisy bicycle built for two. That would be awesome to see that go down.
Man, imagine and Jake's just sitting there like, don't touch me.
Don't touch me.
Don't taser me, man.
Don't tase me, bro, but we got to take off a shirt too and draw on a couple of badly
Well,
worded
that's when
tats.
we slip in the PCP in his drink, and then he gets really mean.
Well, that's when we drop them off in the Woodlands and we just really watch them beat the snot out of them.
What would be hilarious, though, is we're getting ready for the premiere, and it's like they cut him.
Sorry, man, you weren't meth enough.
I wasn't nothing. Well, I love how y'all are just throwing me out there for slaughter to the
Hey,
lambs.
sorry, kid, you can't
Well,
save
you're younger.
everybody.
You're younger, and usually, I mean, you got to be young or old on that show. I guess there's in between. You see, the one thing I love about Cops is, can you imagine doing the escaped or we got a runner in a normal, kind of like your normal suburban neighborhood? Because the neighbors would not come out. Like nobody would come out. They'd be like, the little blinds would open up like, nope. But for some reason on Cops, the neighbors always come out and just kind of like, man, it's crazy. You see that?
Well, do you see the neighborhoods I go to? It's
Yeah, that's true.
It's also the magic of the video camera. I'm telling you, because I do videos in the off season, and no matter where you are, you whip out a video camera, especially with a light if you're shooting at night, and it like draws everybody like moths. People will like rip across the freeway, jump the median, screech their tires to get right up there. Hey, what are you shooting? Can I be in it? And it, it's like has nothing to do with anything. And so,
well, you would think that with the technology making cameras smaller, people wouldn't be as obvious, be like, oh, they're filming over there. But when you have the lights on, like, can you imagine being the cops crew and how much light, how many light bulbs they go through, just like
the light.
shining it. Like,
Can you imagine the cardio workout they have? Because you're saying it's an age thing. You're right. I'm too young to be the old drunk crotchety guy, you know, the veteran who just has the bad attitude in general. And I'm way too old to be the guy. If I tried running, they would need defib paddles half a block away just to revive me from.
Well, I mean, they're on their 30th season, so you know the crew knows people, and they probably have a betting pool of like what's going to happen to this guy, because they do follow up. See, like that's one thing. Again, this follow up is
the
follow up's going to be the new 2020 big deal for all media, is the follow up story, because that's. I mean, I've been watching a lot of Unsolved Mysteries, and they do follow ups. They actually go back and re-edit those deals with the follow ups on Amazon Prime.
Are they still unsolved?
Some of them are. Actually, there's a whole Wikipedia dedicated to like the follow-ups if they don't do it on the show.
Cool.
So some of them are really depressing though. Like some of them are real depressing.
You're talking about life and death here with people's lives, so.
Well, they're not always. Someone's not always murdered.
Well, kidnapped or.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's a lot of sometimes. Some of it's like finding gold and like finding. There's what's really weird is a lot of them have to do with missing family members in a sense of a will. Like this dude died, and somehow it's that standard story. The guy who wore the same gym socks and had the same routine
ate
and
cat food every day.
Yeah, and then it turns out to be a millionaire, and no one can inherit his money, so they're looking for whoever can inherit $1 million.
I'm your Huckleberry.
So, but that show is actually a very good show. It's very entertaining.
What's the name of it?
Unsolved Mysteries. You need to check it out. Like
it's not the same one that Robert Stack used to do.
No, they re-released. Or not re-released. They released the Robert Stack episodes on Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay.
So you can watch them.
that.
I mean, but they also went back in them and did the follow-up. So because in the TV days of when it was running live, what they would do is they do an episode, and if you have any information regarding this unsolved mystery, you call, and then maybe by the time of next season, at the end of the episode, like update, and then be like,
I remember those. Those were cool.
They would run the updates. Well, now they actually interject them in the actual episode, so you can get the update right then and there instead of waiting.
I'm still gonna watch that.
So it's very entertaining, and the stories like that is a wealth of information to write any TV movie stuff. Like some of the stuff is absolutely bonkers. And Jake, you need to check it out if you have an Amazon Prime account. Highly suggest it. It's some of the most interesting, creepy stories.
Are you a fan of the ID channel?
I was just about to talk about that. My mom has that like 24/7, and I told her if Dad ever goes missing, they're going to look at your TV habits, and you are going to jail.
You'll be the number one suspect.
It's basically murdered family members and stuff. But they have this one show on. I can't watch any of the other ones, but there's one called See No Evil.
Okay, yeah,
and it's the show where it's missing people or mysteries, and it's how they find CCTVs and kind of try to solve the crime, and through doing the videos and saying, okay, here's a shadow here, and 99 times out of 100, it's unfortunately a dead body. But they have this one episode where because you interview the family members and they're talking, oh, it was a really bad day, and they got the girl and she was still alive. She was in the trunk of a car. And the cops like raided the car and got her out. And all of a sudden she's there in the interview process. And it was like a really feel good episode. Usually I tuned in for the Schadenfreude of just watching seeing how many bodies showed up this time. But yeah, investigative discovery. Is that how it's phrased?
Yeah, investigative.
The ID channel. Watch us See No Evil if it's still on. Good show. I like that one.
It just seems like a channel you would enjoy, Dick.
With lots of murdered people on
I
it.
like stupid stuff.
Well, yeah, and it's filled with people at their stupidest.
I mean, they have ransom one episodes and Unsolved Mysteries, and that's interesting because you find out like why. And this is real. These are real stories, by the way. Like this is
not Judge Judy. These are real.
Really, what got how they became famous was Robert Stack being really creepy, and then
he was Elliot Ness. What are you talking about?
Well, he just looked so serious in that
He was
coat.
untouchable.
And so they had him as a host, Jake, and then number two is they did the best reenactments possible. And that was actually a question I always had on the show is sometimes in these reenactments, they would actually get somebody who was directly connected with the mystery. So either be the police chief or like the officer in question, or one time they even had the killer. They interviewed the killer or supposed killer, which is pretty crazy. But you have to ask, like, why would you even partake in the unsolved mystery of the reenactment? Like, for example, oh, my grandmother died. Let's reenact the scene that they found the body and it's actually the granddaughter in the reenactment. And I'm like, really? She's reenacting when she found her dead grandma? Like, that is so jacked up. And but it's very entertaining.
Anybody will do anything for a little coin here and there.
Well, that's what I was wondering. I mean, do you think they get paid for that?
They have to get compensated.
You have to get paid scale on it, so it's next to nothing.
Is that one of those like Writers Guild America kind of things?
It truly is.
Man.
That's why there are actual sounds you can make that determine whether you get paid or not as an extra or background extra. Because I've been in a couple of movies as an extra, and you can laugh, grunt, burp. You know, there's this actual list of what you can do, and it's not counted as a line where they have to pay you money. And a lot of extras make this fatal mistake of hey, I'm going to say something and they're going to have to pay me. And what happens is you try to say something, they will cut you out and blacklist you.
Now, does it only have to do with the final product?
Yeah, because if you even do it on the footage, basically that's footage that was not yours to change the script on, as it were.
Okay.
So
that's interesting.
So final product or not, the fact that you're hired to stand there and not make a sound, and if you make a sound, you have, in their eyes, catastrophically failed your one job, just like the Titanic lookout. You had that one job, man, and they will cut you out. So I actually had fun being an extra in some movies, and you know I'm great at they're on screen for 2 seconds for something, and one day I'll tell you the great story with Tim Matheson, who's big on The West Wing.
Yeah,
the actor. Because of him, I was in a movie with him, so I'm 2 degrees from Kevin Bacon. Because he was in Animal House.
Yeah.
2 degrees from Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, you laugh, Jake. How many degrees are you, my young friend?
A lot.
A lot. Yeah, a lot more. But Matheson's awesome.
Well, we're going to take a quick break here on Mornings with Lone Star. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back. We got till about 11 o'clock to shoot the breeze and have fun with Jake from Sports Talk. We got Skippy and me.
That's us.
So stick around. We'll be right back.
Conroe Coffee is a local coffee shop located in the heart of downtown Conroe at 206 North Main Street, Conroe, Texas. Between the Crichton Theater and the Owen Theater, Conroe Coffee serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner, along with tasty treats and Italy's favorite coffee. Have your favorite coffee or just have a midday snack be personally delivered to you at any location in downtown Conroe. All you have to do is call 936 Conroe C or 936-266-7632.
We'd like to thank our sponsor at Conroe Coffee for supporting Mornings with Lone Star and Lone Star Community Radio. Don't forget to check them out online at conroecoffee.com.
We are back with Mornings on Lone Star with Dick, Skippy, and Jake, talking about some stuff that's going on. And right now we actually been having a debate here with our bumper music if we should play Maria. And I'm thinking too soon. Maria is hitting Puerto Rico, which already got nailed already. So we're sending out warm fuzzies to our friends in Puerto Rico. Hope you guys hunker down and make it through okay. But it does lead us to a point, Dick, that we were talking about earlier, the politicizing of disasters, especially when they're still happening. I have many friends all over the political spectrum, conservative, liberal, and I have some that going, these hurricanes are proving that, climate change is real and it's going to kill us all. And if you don't believe it, you're just stupid. And A, I think it's too soon. B, I think it's premature in the sense of not too soon, but just premature that. So if next year, if we don't have too many hurricanes, then climate change is stopped. It's A, doesn't necessarily go to B, but this is not the point now to be talking about, as Puerto Ricans are getting nailed by 175 mile an hour winds. That's like terminal velocity. To say, wow, see, now we have climate change. We told you so, I think that's the wrong time for it. Let's get through the disaster. Let's let the experts weigh in.
Well, you look at what do people want from the climate change reaction, because I feel like it's one of those topics that you won't really know until it's too late, in a sense. And when I say too late, I mean not like the asteroids are hitting the Earth or something like that, but it's more of like, what can we do to fix it? Well, there's people out there doing more and more every day, company wise.
Absolutely.
Now, what do you think is a reasonable response to climate change? Because are they asking if they prove all the things that people like? I'm saying the most outlandish thing they've claimed. Say it's true. What as a nation do we do about it? Unless we're like no more cars, like something drastic.
I believe.
I feel like that's the only answer is drastic.
Well, for instance, I used to work in the oil and gas industry.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, we're going to run out of oil and gas one day. We will never run out of oil because technology will progress with electric cars and hybrid cars and alternate fuel sources that you won't need as much oil, so it won't be blitzed through as easily. So there will be oil for the next 1,000 years. You know, we will never run out of energy. There are other sources. We kind of joked the other day on The Matrix where Agent Smith was saying, you know, humans are a virus.
Yeah.
And you can't affect natural resources on a global scale. You can't have 7-8 billion people on a planet and not affect
Something.
However, you look
Everyone's
at
defecating on yards.
right, yeah, pooping jogger. Look it up, Jake.
Hashtag pooping jogger.
Pooping jogger. Well, we hope it's hashtag because we made it up, but it was a lady pooping while she jogged. But back to climate change and global warming. Yeah, I believe that you can't help but affect. But look at the 10 years ago, the inconvenient truth. All these by now we should have no more polar ice caps. By now all the polar bears are dead. By now,
Well, that's
New
what I
York
was saying.
could be
The
swamped.
slippery slope of making those claims and then it not having.
You don't take it seriously. But here's the thing: I'm open to the possibility of climate change. But I am branded a denier because I'm not going, oh, we must stop all carbon.
I think that's also the hive mind got control of the word, and then the word changed its meaning because it's funny that certain areas in the climate, like certain areas around the world, are changing, and it's not just one drastic change like in day after tomorrow or something like that. And that'd be surreal if it was something like that. But
well, it has to be in the movies because it's not happening in real life. They're saying in recorded history, this is the biggest storm. We've only been recording storms for 150 years.
Yeah.
We have no idea what was happening in the 1700s.
yeah,
Especially here, in the Gulf of Mexico, it just did not exist for us. And so I think there's a lot of Chicken Little going on around it. Sky's falling because we have to act now. And I think a lot of it's economically driven. I think a lot of it's politically driven.
Of course.
And
AAA, they want to keep those tires on the
do
road.
we want to tie AAA into this one? Because this
Well,
is
they
pretty
want to keep the
hardcore.
tires on the road, so they need cars.
Okay.
So cars is a big argument about climate change. So are cows.
You know what? I may have to hop on board this one.
We got the vegetarians, and we got AAA working together. Or
Yeah.
against each other, I guess.
Against each other.
Yeah, I think they're against each other. Jake, were you here yesterday when you found out that on Monday?
Yes.
AAA's calling.
Yeah, we'll ask them about it.
I heard. I'm excited about it. But to hop on the climate change, my perspective is that yes, there's obviously some form of climate change going on because it's never stopped. Mother Earth has constantly
There's always a change.
had change going on, and sometimes it's more gradual than what, and it's always gradual in the grand scheme of things. Planet Earth has been around for how many billions of years?
And
6,000.
we still have.
Oh wait, sorry, wrong.
We don't really know.
And so, but I mean, that's my point. We were never always in this state.
What does it take, though? My question is, what does it take to actually convince people? Because there's not a sole body representing the truth in this argument where everyone's like, let's wait until this group gets all their facts straight and then present something. Because again, like it's such a huge topic that there's not a single answer that can sit down and globally explain everything to everybody.
You've got to get rid of the Chicken Little knee-jerk reaction.
Especially how you started this conversation. Like it's kind of crazy somebody would. Start
right now,
talking about
and a dear friend of mine was like leading that charge, and I opted not to respond. But it's like hurricanes do not equal climate change necessarily. Now, I say this with absolutely zero science degrees on the wall.
Well,
behind
that's what everyone's doing.
But everyone is, when they say 97% of all scientists agree, you can't get 5 out of 5 dentists to agree that sugar-free gum is good for your teeth. A scientist is a nuclear physicist, is a mechanical engineer. You cannot say...
What did you say yesterday? 76.3% of all statistics are made up?
On the spot, that's right.
Well, it's almost like how we should approach it, how we as a nation approach game management for livestock and basically anything that's in parks and things like that. Because when someone noticed, hey, if we just eat deer in this area, the deer population is going to die. So we have to develop a system to bring it back, the ecosystem back, and balance it out. And I mean, maybe that's something that instead of looking at it as like a hammer and a nail and just keep hitting things, maybe we should just try to figure out how to maintain what is good. Like what is a positive impact on the planet.
So here's one issue I have with that though. Are you going to limit me how much I can drive?
See, that's because it's not necessarily down to the detail of that. It's more of like, why do we have to restrict people? Why don't we encourage a shift?
Well, that's how they do it with hunters. They say, hey, look, you can only kill X amount of deer this year, and in this area.
And that's how they figure out how to maintain it.
Yeah. So that would I guess the equal comparison there would be to say, yeah, you can only drive this amount. Otherwise, you have to take public transit.
Or conversely, you can only drive 55 or 70. I mean, there are kind of laws based on that for the greater good. And I know sometimes that's a slippery slope. Who determines what the greater good is?
Well, you also have to look at the foundation of each community because each community is different. So, for example, telling that to a New Yorker, they won't care because they don't drive. But telling that to a Texan, that's going to be a big issue. So it really depends on the community, and it really depends on it's also the shift. They're always trying to improve things. So it's not saying, hey, for the next 25 years you only drive 100 miles a week, if that. Like it's more of like, well, what is our response to our needs in the community? Well, clearly we need transportation here, and we need some type of train. Either that be like electric cars or trains or buses or something that lessens individual driving. But
go ahead.
You go.
When civil discourse happens, and kind of tying in yesterday, the glee I got watching Nancy Pelosi just get her butt stomped by the people that were, a week before her friends. It's not fun when it happens to you. When you start chanting and yelling and wearing female body parts as costumes, no one takes you seriously. I can't take, on many levels, climate change seriously because, first off, it's called global warming until it was proven temperatures were dropping in many areas. And, the cooling proves global warming, but we're going to call it climate change. And as I said, when I was growing up, it was acid rain. It was the ozone hole that every decade there's something that's going to kill us. And we need to do the follow-ups. How's the ozone hole going? No one can tell you. And so with civil discourse, if we got rid of the Al Gores of I'm going to fly this jet all around the world to say how you have to have a zero carbon footprint, I can't take him seriously. When this movie says the polar bears are there's a cartoon of a polar bear dying.
You lead by example in this situation.
They came out with a second one of that movie.
Right, yeah. And
I haven't seen it or heard any reviews on it yet, but
nor I, but it's funny because they're like, well, it's because we've done the good work so far that we still have the Arctic circle. I got to take it seriously. If you want to convince me of climate change, don't scream in my face that I'm a denier, or don't say, well, there's a hurricane in the Gulf, therefore it's climate change. No, there have always been hurricanes in the Gulf or the Atlantic or the Pacific. They've always been there. There have been some really bad ones. Sometimes, I remember when Inconvenient Truth came out, they were saying there will be more hurricanes and there will be devastating. The next year, literally, I think we had 0 hurricanes.
Well, the last 4 years, we've had a handful of tropical storms, but nothing really devastating, nothing like what we've seen this year. I mean, this is the first Category 4 that's hit since 2005.
Right. Long story short, let's send some happy thoughts out to Puerto Rico and anyone else who's going to get nailed, because we're only halfway through the hurricane season, and my walls haven't gone up yet. I'm playing it safe. I'm going to wait for a while, because if the floods come again, I can just open up the front and back door and just squeegee through the water. But let's thank you for getting that. But seriously, thoughts going out to Puerto Rico and everyone else who's in the crosshairs of Maria.
It's hard to believe that we have not even hit the halfway marker of the hurricane season. That's scary. That's really...
What's next? Dogs and cats living together?
I
Mass
know,
hysteria.
Right?
Well, they're being forced to now.
Really?
You're listening to Lone Star Community Radio, Mornings Lone Star, hanging out till 11 o'clock. Stick around. Let us know what's going on with you. If you want to talk in, 936-647-3776. Also, MW Lone Star on Facebook. We will be right back for these sponsored messages.
Conroe Coffee is a local coffee shop located in the heart of downtown Conroe at 206 North Main Street, Conroe, Texas. Between the Crichton Theater and the Owen Theater, Conroe Coffee serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner, along with tasty treats and Italy's favorite coffee. Have your favorite coffee or just have a midday snack be personally delivered to you at any location in downtown Conroe. All you have to do is call 936-CONROE-C or 936-266-7632.
We'd like to thank our sponsor at Conroe Coffee for supporting Mornings with Lone Star and Lone Star Community Radio. Don't forget to check them out online at conroecoffee.com.
Welcome back to Mornings with Lone Star. Don't listen to what the other people say. We are the ones who built this city on rock and roll. Guaranteed. Moving on from... Guaranteed. Moving on from Maria. Yesterday, President Trump gave a speech. Dick, Jake, what do you guys think about it? Did you listen in on it?
Yeah, I saw the Cliff Notes.
The Cliff Notes version?
No.
Long story short, our previous president, was frequently accused of being soft, going on an apology tour, taking the teeth out of the tiger of the United States. And of course, we have, for good or ill, whatever your thoughts are, the president speaks his mind. You rarely have to wonder where he is at any given moment, emotionally or mentally. He'll tweet it. By golly, he's going to tweet it.
If he doesn't have a microphone in front of him, yeah.
Right. And he's yet to double speak. He's yet to double talk. On some levels, and I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, he's like the kind of president that's usually in the West Wing or a movie about a president that, the everyman. There was a movie where Robin Williams gets elected president due to a computer glitch, and he's kind of like a Jon Stewart comedian character.
Yeah.
And so we've always wanted in fiction a president who says what he means and means what he says. Now, we've got the current president who, it's almost be careful what you wish for, you might get it. But at the speech yesterday, unapologetic, very forceful, very saying, of course we have to put ourselves first. Every nation should put themselves first. And people are freaking out, no, we must help the others. But think about it. You're flying on an airplane. I'm sure you both been on airplanes before. And the flight attendant will be, okay, exits here. And in the case of cabin pressure, these little parquet margarine cups are going to pop down. And if you're traveling with small kids, what do?
You put yours on first.
Because if you don't take care of yourself first, you could both die. And so it makes sense. If anyone else but Trump had said that, but yeah, that makes sense. Of course, he said it, so it's evil and, self-centered, and it just shows what a narcissist he is. So, but Netanyahu, from, the Israeli prime minister, basically, on his knees, kissing the ring, saying thank you for being, giving this speech, unlike what we've heard in the past. It's signaling an America that is unafraid to say, whack job, Kim Jong-un, you fire one more missile, we are going to wipe you off the map, period. I mean, he just put it in those terms. We will totally destroy you.
So did he come out with that speech in, I guess, not just response to the launching of the missile, but basically to justify why they flew fighter jets?
Yes, the speech to the United Nations is pretty straightforward for a president. It's not quite State of the Union, but it's kind of, this is who I am. He's introducing what this administration is all about to the other nations of the world. And so sometimes, you can have the olive branch, and I'm not saying Trump right, Obama wrong, nothing like that. Every president has their flavor. And Obama opted to go a more conciliatory tone with his speech to the United Nations. Yeah. He got the Nobel Peace Prize, so he tried to propagate that image of I'm a peaceful president. This sect may want to kill thousands of us, but not everybody's like that. So we forgive you. We must think what their mindset is, or, we're sorry that, that we've put ourselves in world affairs. And I think we should. On many levels, I'm kind of libertarian in mindset, but my foreign policy stance is too strong. I think we have a responsibility as the big boy on the block to take care of the others and to make sure the rules are followed. And if someone's in distress that's a friend of ours, we help them. If someone jacks with us, we don't help them.
Yeah. Well, and I get it, but are we still the big boy on the block?
We're one of the big three.
Yeah. Yeah, you still think that we hold enough power and control in this?
No, for sure.
I think the teeth were kind of, a few teeth were pulled over the last 8 years, but think about this. I mean, we're talking beyond size. All the other nations, the superpowers, have literally had hundreds, if not thousands of years of unbroken history to get where they are today. And like, I grew up in England, and so I was able to see churches that are literally 1,000 years old, 2,000 years old. That history's there. And so you have China, able to track its dynasties back thousands of years. In Russia, you have the Stalinist purges, the Bolshevik Revolution, the czars. It goes back thousands of years. We've done this in under 300.
Yeah.
So it's the American spirit, I think. I'm getting all rah-rah here, but
Rah-rah.
yeah, rah-rah. But it's the American spirit that in less than 300 years, we've accomplished more than what.
Well, we're one of the first places to be a land of immigrants. I mean, that's
right.
I
That's a whole other topic. We can talk about that.
Well, really, I think that correlates to the bond. And then the 300 years we were able to accomplish so much is because a lot of the history in those areas, you said, came down to the people. And some of those people didn't like other people, and they really treated other people very poorly. And here, we still did that in a sense, but it didn't set us back in a sense.
No, and we did open the floodgates. Now, I'm all for immigration. I'm all for legal immigration. And I'll, do the dot.
Well, I wasn't even commenting on that. I was just more of, if you think of the group of people, the history of Russia going back thousands of years, the people in Russia haven't really dispersed.
No other nation in the universe has opened
No,
its
that's not
arms.
true. We don't know.
Yeah,
We
I
can't
know.
prove that.
I know all. But has opened its arms and borders to every. What was the line from Stripes or something? Bill Murray says, it means our forefathers were kicked out of every decent country in the world. It's true. No other country has welcomed the sheer number of not only immigrants, but different immigrants, north, south, across the ocean, Asian population, Indian population, Native American population, different topic altogether. But there is no one that is not welcome here based on their race or originating nationality.
Well, that's one thing. You look at the UN deal, and it's funny because when you read about it, especially with Trump being everyone reporting every day what he does, I have to think of all the folks who are involved with the UN and how they look forward, because pretty much everyone gives a speech in a sense. Mm-hmm. So they have the itinerary of the days, like this is when this goes on, this is when that goes on. It'd be funny to see them what they think is going to be happening. Like, they're under the table talking, be like, "Hey, you ready for Trump's deal? You ready for what do you think he's going to do? What do you think he's going to do? What do you think
there's an office pool?"
And
yes.
especially with public information of another country sending missiles over another country, and they have the gall to come to these events and be part of it, and you're like, everyone's just kind of looking over to him and like, Joe, what's happening over there? Like, what are you doing? And again,
what up with that?
Because we talked about the technology being straight lined communication today. Because if you were at war 200 years ago, you literally had 2 to 3 weeks before you heard a response from the person you're going to war at.
And you feel bad for those who died after the
But
war was
you have 3
over.
weeks in between going, what do? We need to have defense. Do we attack or do we not attack? Like, why do they attack us? We don't really know. We have to wait 3 weeks. And that's crucial to that's how people lose their country. And the thing about the Blitzkrieg in Germany, I think a lot of that had to do with the lack of communication between the Allied powers, because no one knew what was going on exactly, and no one knew where Germany was going to go next. And so that's why everyone kind of got afraid, and that's why they kind of let it slide for that long period of time. Because there's a good period of time where he was just kind of going around doing whatever he wanted over there. And
bits and pieces. There was a master chess game going on there with, a little bit of Poland here, a little bit of Austria there, and then you announce it. And unfortunately, at the time, we had an isolationist position coming off the heels of World War I, where we had a president that says, it's not our fight. And
which today, I mean, it'd be hard to have that answer because everyone's so intertwined together, and especially with the money being involved between countries, and then also the big stick on the block where it's expected of us to do something about it.
Not only do something, but think about naming one nation that we've refused to offer any kind of assistance to, ever. In the history of America, name one country that we've said, you know what, you you just don't deserve our money or our support or anything.
In one way or another.
In one way or the other. Literally, there is no other nation that we haven't offered out to. And in return, some of them take it and then dog on America. And that's what Trump was saying yesterday is like, if you dog us, you're not going to get our help. I mean, just like in a normal social situation or an office environment, you know, if you have that guy who just dogging on everybody, you're not inviting him to lunch.
Again, like you got those folks over there going like, what's he going to say? What's he going to say? Joe over here is screwing with everybody. And we got this other guy. We got Bill, who's this insane guy. He's going to go on there and talk to us about.
He's the crazy boss.
He's the crazy man.
He's the
Get
crazy
out of here, kid.
boss.
He's crazy when he's like this.
I don't know. Like,
Throw trash cans
well,
and everything.
especially with the language barrier.
Oh,
Because like I can't imagine transcribing Donald Trump's speeches for another language. It's weird because his dialogue is very
you cannot
blunt.
Google translate this because the nuance behind it.
Well, and he speaks like no other president before him.
He
And
goes
they-
off teleprompter, and you know that gives people just heart attacks right there.
And so there's no, like, because usually you got the president that he stands upright and he gives this, confident speech. No, Trump is just, he's in your face and he's powerful about it. And the nuances about it.
Well, he
just
reminds
don't
me.
translate.
He reminds me of the person who doesn't communicate with you until he's upset, and he's like, "Here's the deal, foot down. Here's the deal. Here's the deal." And he's in a couple of speeches that are like uplifting. He's not saying like the buck stops here.
I think yesterday was actually very uplifting on many levels. That he's like, okay, we've been kind of wishy-washy. Now we're not. This is how
This
it
is
is.
the UN.
But he also
this is what it's supposed to be.
But because I know he went off teleprompter yesterday, he had to have. At one point, he said something, then he finished it off with "Believe me."
When he does the OK symbol, that's when he's going off teleprompter.
Oh, okay.
'Cause
I thought it was like
That's
his
his
tell?
That's his tick that like helps him keep in his mind of like
because in
keep
American
on
Sign
track.
Language, that's a dirty
Yeah,
word.
maybe that's man.
But
Go ahead.
I was about to say, he said, "Believe me." Now, not only is that off teleprompter, but try translating that to someone who does. When an American says "believe me," that means something. That if you just wrote it down in a general sense, you don't get that. So the interpreters must have the handful.
I mean, that'd be so funny to be just hanging out there.
This will be a fun 4 years. I'm really excited for it.
If
Not
not,
boring.
Not boring. No.
hey, listen, Mornings with Lone Star here on irlonestar.com, MW Lone Star on Facebook. Let us know what you think of what we're talking about. Don't forget, if you're just now joining us and you miss the beginning, we podcast and YouTube all of our shows on Google Play and also iTunes and YouTube. We'll be right back. We got a couple more minutes with Mornings with Lone Star.
Conroe Coffee is a local coffee shop located in the heart of downtown Conroe at 206 North Main Street, Conroe, Texas. Between the Crichton Theater and the Owen Theater, Conroe Coffee serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner, along with tasty treats and Italy's favorite coffee. Have your favorite coffee or just have a midday snack be personally delivered to you at any location in downtown Conroe. All you have to do is call 936 Conroe C or 936-266-7632.
We'd like to thank our sponsor at Conroe Coffee for supporting Mornings with Lone Star and Lone Star Community Radio. Don't forget to check them out online at conroecoffee.com.
We're back, man. We're getting all like political and stuff today. This is awesome.
The reviews of the show do not reflect
Necessarily
Lone Star
reflect.
Community Radio.
You got to say necessarily reflect because it may reflect. Hey, we got to do a follow up. So yesterday we had like a flat out ghost story happen.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, Jake, were you here for that? Or did you hear about this?
No.
So I got a text message from a girlfriend, and she,
Did she dump you finally?
well, she yeah.
Is this
Please.
the alleged
No.
girlfriend?
Yeah,
The alleged
See,
girlfriend.
I use it as an anchor for my stories. So it's like people kind of believe it more when I say, "Oh, my
It
girlfriend."
was like Hannah Youngman's wife. Take my wife, please. He wasn't married.
Well, she texted me, and her neighbor was asking her to be quiet because so much noise is coming up from her apartment.
Okay.
Well, it turns out she was asleep the whole time. She's been working hard or whatever, and she's not necessarily a loud person. So she got really spooked because she's like, somebody's in the apartment. And this happened again this morning. She gets text like, "Hey, can you please keep it down?" And she's like, "It's not me. Like, you gotta understand, it's not me. I'm not even there. Like she was coming up here. And what was great about it, and I told her, was like, it's probably, there's 3 apartments in this house. So it's probably a new one, or it's some homeless dude walking around, being loud.
Yeah.
And somehow, because your mind messes with you most of the time. Because you kind of fill in the pieces with I don't know, there's actually a condition, I bet, that's called, like, your brain fills it in with its own imagination with stuff. Well, anyway, guess what happened? It was new neighbors moving in, and I can already smell the issue because they're loud.
No guests or no ghosts?
They were, and how's the nicest way of putting this? They were
loud?
They were, holding hands. They were
holding
hands.
They were little early morning delight.
Yeah, they were holding hands, and so
I
didn't get that reference.
Yeah, we know you didn't.
Yeah,
welcome to Mornings at Lone Star.
Around the issues.
Really showing your age there, Jake.
Yeah, well,
you don't know Starlight Express, Afternoon Delight? Oh my God, we got to learn this, boy. That's a bumper music for tomorrow.
There you go.
Afternoon
that's gross.
Delight. But we still need to call in the Ghostbusters you were talking about. Southeast somebody.
Southeast Texas Ghost Hunters, Southeast Texas.
There we go. Yeah, we got to bring them in just
they were
so
on, they were on the air probably like 4 years ago. You can probably check it out on our old archive.
Way back.
Well,
way back.
Thanks for ruining all the fun I had yesterday. I thought we had like a ghost thing going on, and it's noisy.
Well, because what I didn't tell Jake was in between finding out is I stayed there and I heard something too, but I didn't tell Holly because why would you tell her
and just freak her out?
And I thought I was having a night terror, and it's like you just kind of ignore those things. But
if that's what were you hearing? Because now that we know what was making the sounds, I'm kind of worried about.
Well, I heard crashing. That's what I heard.
Yeah, baby.
So everything's kind of making sense. But
what's a night terror?
Night terror is it
different than a nightmare?
It's a nightmare, but it's also when you're awake. It's like halfway.
It's a fugue state that where you're unsure. You're in that little like la la land between being awake and asleep, where your brain will take over. Like you can hear a small sound, and your brain will magnify it and give it something that you're sort of dreaming, and it could really jack with you.
That's crazy. I've never had one of those.
Count yourself lucky, my friend.
Yeah, because imagine a nightmare, but imagine the nightmare actually happening. Like in the real world, like because I wake up and I'm like running around trying to figure it out, and then like 2 minutes later I'm like, oh, I'm dreaming. Oh,
it's like paranormal activity for realsies.
But
so no ghosts.
Well, we don't know that. I think the ghosts actually hired these people.
So Holly does this huge research about the house. 1920 is when this house was built. So she's like, it's haunted. Like, and because what happened was they built the house, and for like 10 years it lived in, and then for a while it was basically an abandoned house. And if you have an abandoned house in downtown Houston, I mean, the defecating jogger isn't the only problem you're having. And
hashtag poopy jogger.
Yeah, that's a real story. You need to check it out in Colorado.
I already did.
That's a real deal. Can't wait to see the Snapchats. But but it was interesting. I'm kind of concerned a little bit still. And I told her, I was like, we never actually walked the property because it's a relatively interesting little house in this middle of this metropolis. Because it is a house built in the 1920s, and surrounding it are those new townhomes and stuff. So, and it's gated. One of the most interesting things they did there is they took out the yard and they just put rocks. So imagine like a normal backyard, but with just rocks.
Well, they keep the ghosts away, don't they?
Yeah, I mean,
you could hear.
Well, it's easier to bury people, I guess. I'm not really sure, but
good point.
But you never know.
We got to call these Southeast Texas Ghostbuster guys. We got to get them in there.
Get them on
Halloween remote or something.
I mean, do you really believe in ghosts, or do you? Because we ask people that, it's not a yes or no question, similar to all those topics we've been talking about today. But do you? If you had to sum it up, yes or no, and we don't need to interpret anything, just yes or no. It's all I want. Is do you believe in the supernatural?
Yes.
Jake?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know.
Cool. We're going to arm wrestle later on. This is awesome.
You know what? I'm going to be cheap, and I'm just going to say I want to believe.
You want to believe?
Okay, Mulder.
I mean, no, that really that made me think about that concept of what it meant was what does it mean I want to believe, and I really like that show for telling me like that statement really means a lot when you start understanding where he was coming from. Because really, I mean, that's just I want to.
I think there's more than just the five senses,
Yeah.
and I'll leave it at that. I got some bad news for you, man.
Oh, shoot.
Because we were talking about boxers and stuff. I know boxing is your gig.
No, I just talk about it sometimes. I don't know anything about boxing. I just like it.
Well, now you just dampened my news.
Oh, what's the
here.
bad news?
Jake LaMotta, who De Niro played that
Yeah.
in Raging Bull, passed away.
Well, it was coming.
Well, yeah, dude's 95, but still.
I mean, he got hit in the face.
It came as a
He got
shock
hit
to
in the
him.
face.
Yeah, got hit in the face and made it to 95. That's what we call badass in the industry here.
Yeah.
Here's the humanizing reaction of Dick over here. Well, it was coming. Like, that's so.
It was a joke.
I know it was, but
Jake LaMotta has passed away in 95. So
Well, hopefully people will remember him and watch Raging Bull because that's a well-made movie.
Raging Bull will
And-
make a comeback, I'm sure.
a remake.
Oh,
Yeah, you don't
why,
remake
why, You're the person who does that. You're the person who puts those seeds in those movie people. Let's make a remake of a movie that no one ever wants a remake of Raging Bull. Why would anyone want a remake of that
I
movie?
defy anyone to remake anything that De Niro was in.
Okay.
Why?
Look, he's De Niro. I mean, it's
How
not-
about Bad Grandpa? We can remake that
Okay,
one.
we can remake Bad Grandpa.
Well, I thought they were going to come out with a second one with that. I was very disappointed they didn't.
The movie's a little weird.
There's just no justice anymore, is there? No Bad Grandpa 2. I'm sorry, Jake.
No justice. The world's so unkind.
That's so funny. But no, it is sad when that kind of stuff happens. And
Yeah.
I wonder if he donated his body.
It'd be interesting. We can look into that. But yeah,
Because there was a report that came out. I'm going to look it up real quick. That kids who play football under 12 will develop brain injuries. Did you know that? Isn't that crazy?
Yes, I knew that.
I mean,
well, that explains much.
I'm a result of that. I had a brain injury when I was little from playing football.
that explains the lack of awareness
Explains much.
when people hold hands in the morning.
We'll
Plenty of people do that. That's a normal thing.
off the air. We'll discuss our various brain injuries. One more thing I want to talk about
Yeah,
real quick.
we got 5 minutes.
Okay, my mother is what one might call a Luddite. If you don't know what that means, it's someone who just is not
Oh,
technologically proficient at all. She calls computers computer machines, and when
You know what's strange about that is no one ever called them computer machines. So,
She does.
so it wasn't like when she was younger and the first computer came out, they weren't saying, "Have you seen the new computer machine?" She just made that up.
she made it up, and the mouse is the clicky thingy.
The clicky thing.
The clicky thingy. I kid you not. I've spent, if I charged for IT services with my mother, I'd be rich right now. I'd be getting the late calls. I remember many years ago, there was a problem with her VHS, and I was on the phone with her long distance for an hour before I realized that it was the clock flashing 12 because it had been unplugged. But kudos to my mom, who still is the last holder of a flip phone, got herself an Amazon Echo yesterday.
Oh, really?
And one, Alexa.
So she did it on her own.
She did it on her own. She called me after the fact saying, I spent this much on it. Was that a good price? And I'm like, yes, it was. I'm looking through my eBay list or Amazon list. So I set her up on the Echo yesterday. And because she literally has a zero internet footprint.
What was her interest in getting an Echo?
As she and my dad is elderly.
Yeah.
He's a very strong 94, but they have a lot of doctor's appointments or memory issues, and so it's like, remind me to do this. A lot of it is reminders or just.
How do you set that up through Echo? Do you do it on a computer or do you do it like, hey, you, tell me in 3 hours I got to take my pills?
Well, here's where the punchline is you do it through an Amazon account, and so I have one, and my mother having the zero internet footprint, I set it up on my account, and you download the app on your phone. You can do it on the computer, right. But the byproduct of this is anything she's doing on her Echo is ending up on my phone. So I woke up this morning, and I feel kind of like voyeuristic a bit, but I'm finding out what she was doing all night long on her Echo.
All night long.
Yeah, well, funny you should mention that. Lionel Richie was part of it. It's I'm finding out the song. I can see my
Whoa,
mother's
you can do that?
Yeah,
Totally gonna do that.
right. Because didn't you set your mom up on it?
Yeah,
on an Echo?
I didn't. I don't get her notifications because she has her own account.
I do. So I'm praying like mom's not listening right now. If you are, mom, I love you.
I
but-
was trying to figure out how to screw with her with it because I feel like if I did reminders and randomly throughout the day it would be like go off like, Mary, don't forget
Here's what you can do. If you have your own Echo, and you can communicate with her Echo directly. And
Like a
so,
speaker, like a speaker system?
Yeah, it's like, hey, Alexa, tell Mom's Echo, look out, and it'll do it.
Oh, yes.
And it'll say, message from Dick's Echo.
You
Look
just,
out.
Just change the name on the app to, unknown or something, or FBI surveillance vans.
The one above.
The one from the one above. Get out. So, Mom, I look forward to guiding you through your Alexa journey.
That's pretty
here.
cool. I want to check one of these out. Now, what's the bigger one?
What's
What's the difference between the big one and the small one?
the Echo is the tall one. It's like
Dot is the small one.
yeah.
Okay, what's the difference though? Just because
I think aesthetics. It's like the Amazon, not the Amazon, the iPod Nano and the different models.
well, they do the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know if there might be a memory difference.
could be memory difference. A lot of it's aesthetics.
I think it's a lot of it.
Hers is. It looks like the.
I mean, like
the
double the price though, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. She got it for a good deal, but the price is more. But it seriously looks like a black one of those Fifth Element.
Yeah. The element
Yeah,
element pillars.
Right. Those pillars there.
Because I really am going to. I'm going to figure out a way I can just mess with people with this.
Let's start
That's a lot
jacking
of
with
fun.
our mothers who are on Amazon Echo now.
Well, we're wrapping up today's show. Thank you to our show sponsor, Conroe Coffee, not Morning's Lone Star, but that Conroe Coffee. Check them out next door here in downtown Conroe. Delicious coffee. And Sean and I will be back tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. And then thanks for Jake for tuning in. He is Jake from Sports Talk. Going to be on today at 1 o'clock. You can also subscribe to his podcasts on Google Play and iTunes and, of course, YouTube. If you missed today's show, we will be podcasting our own very shortly, so make sure to subscribe. Coming up tomorrow, we're just going to be hanging out, talking more. And then don't forget, on Monday, we're going to have our AAA interview. Coming up next is going to be a replay of Nathan Arzai's Montgomery County Lifestyle. He will be returning to the studio tomorrow, so stick around for that. You're listening to Lone Star Community Radio. We are Montgomery County's community radio station. We'll talk to you later.
Conroe Coffee is a local coffee shop located in the heart of downtown Conroe at 206 North Main Street, Conroe, Texas. Between the Crichton Theater and the Owen Theater, Conroe Coffee serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner, along with tasty treats and Italy's favorite coffee. Have your favorite coffee or just have a midday snack be personally delivered to you at any location in downtown Conroe. All you have to do is call 936-CONROE-C or 936-266-7632.
We'd like to thank our sponsor at Conroe Coffee for supporting Mornings with Lone Star and Lone Star Community Radio. Don't forget to check them out online at conroecoffee.com.
Thanks for checking out this podcast of Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station. If you enjoyed this recording, make sure to check out our past shows online at irlonestar.com or their respective video or podcast formats on YouTube, Google Play, or iTunes. If you have any questions regarding the show, either it being about sponsorships or questions for the host, contact the station manager at dick@irlonestar.com or call the station at 936-647-3776. This show was recorded in downtown Conroe, Texas at the Lone Star Community Radio Studios, and Lone Star Community Radio reserves all rights to this recording and images.